Check.
I think it was a gradual thing because feminism was a bit of a dirty word in the 90s. But I started to think, actually, you know what? There are things that are not equal and I'm not happy about that. Basically, I was wanting to start a women's music festival in Manchester because I was just thinking it's not right that all the famous musicians of Manchester are all guys when you think about it, like Liam Gallagher and Ian Brown and all of those people.
Yes, I class myself as a feminist. I guess throughout my life, I've just always been quite a sort of curious person. I can remember being at school and like seeing things happen and being one of the only people to like say things, and I was a lot more confident when I was younger as well. So like I just always kind of spoke up for things, and I still think there's a long way to go, unfortunately. But it is great that, you know, we are still trying to get ahead with things.
A lot of our like teenage feelings about love and stuff are really affected by the songs that we listen to. A lot of the songs that are consumed by young girls, for example, are written by men. If you're listening to things that are being made by men, then you're getting a skewed point of view. I'm not saying that it's wrong, but it's only coming from that point of view, and I don't think that that's okay. I think we need to do something about that and try and change it. I'm like, why are there no iconic female musicians in Manchester? And let's just like start a bit of a movement and try and have a women's music festival in Manchester. And then I found out that Lady Festival already started to do stuff like that.
My artwork's normally inspired by natural forms, nature. Lots of trees, lots of leaves, always animals. Try to take a political influence sometimes, but it can be quite hard to portray views in a drawing. I think feminism is a necessity. I think we need it.
It's improving, but I don't think we'll ever not need feminism. Do you know what I mean? I think females will always be suppressed. Media coverage of female artists never really focuses on the talent and putting the focus on them as sexual objects. Luckily, there doesn't seem to be any of that within the tattoo industry, and that's one of the reasons I like it.
My name's Lauren Bolger, and I'm in a band called Lotion, and we're performing today for Lady Fest. I noticed that that there was a difference in sort of opportunities for women, like being in a band, for example. Like the industry's mainly male-dominated, especially in Manchester. Like a lot of the promoters are male, and a lot of the bands are male. And I noticed that straight away because I became a promoter when I was 21. I started a night called Paradox, and I noticed that, you know, there wasn't many female acts, that are female writers I could even draw upon. It was harder to find women in the arts.
You know, I'm lucky that my parents are still together. They always brought us up to believe that we could do anything that we wanted to, we could achieve whatever, and my dad has been a role model for me as much as my mum in that sense. And I also, when I was at uni, I did a course about feminism, the rise of feminism in Germany, because I was studying German, and so I found out about their movement for women to get the vote and things like that. And I just started to think, you know, if you don't call yourself a feminist, then really you've got to look at where our society would be if we hadn't had feminism. You know, we'd all be up the spout with our seventh kid, pretty much, you know. It would be still that our role is only to be within the home. And I'm a mum, I've got 3 kids, and that is a really beautiful role to have, but not everybody wants that to be their whole entire life. So I think that we need to have options.
You come across more male bands and male artists do music in Manchester. It's the same within the poetry scene too. And I've always felt like
Like, I've never wanted to see that as a barrier for myself, but you know, I have been a victim of occasions where I felt like a woman and I've not wanted to. I've just wanted to feel like I'm equal, I'm a human being. Like situations where I've done a reading, say, and everybody on the bill's a man except me. But I try not to focus on that with my own work and myself. But yeah, it's definitely a factor. The event I put on last for Ladies Room was for Wonder Woman series of events, so it was for Women's Day, so it was a great opportunity to do a full day, which was just dedicated to female acts and female artists. And what I found is feminism did come up in discussion, but it didn't dominate the conversation. And I think as much as it's important to sort of be a feminist and be aware of sort of pushing women's rights in the art scene, it's also important to disrespect it and sort of act like it doesn't exist, because it's good to just be confident and carry on without thinking that you're being restricted by anything. Like my last collection, I was trying to sort of really find my voice with it, so I experimented with mostly like the sonic form. The sonic form is like a 14-line stanza, and it's typically like writing on love. It's quite a classical form, but for my first collection I reworked it in my own way, so I would like struggle to get to 14 lines, and I'd stop at 13 something. Like there is like lots of rules to it, but I sort of didn't like sort of ignore them, because I just wanted to attack it and approach it. And before light knots, in making a roundabout way of telling, of driving south, of sleeping on a hill together, and when the fleece went from under our souls, I held my way with you. The motorway still had a way of calling me into your world, across town, broke love, wrapped up even before yesterday, came to morning like a rude and slow. I sit for weeks and only know the sense of its way of clasp and the old breath grass. Kindly notice with each other, but when you reach other, even less than that, like a pleasure, I still cannot say, except the oars of it are what paths to swim, and death strolling in again.
Well, I decided I want to be a tattoo artist when I was about 10, I think. My parents were a bit hit and miss with like support and stuff. My two younger brothers, I've got one who's autistic and one who's deaf, so that kind of broadened my interest a bit, made me a bit more understanding. It was a bit difficult and stuff. My dad never really like took any interest. Like he recognised my talent, but he didn't do anything to actively encourage it. But my mum was like complete polar opposite. Always dead supportive, always helping me out with equipment, always putting drawings in frames and stuff like that. She was an artist herself, so I think she kind of knew the benefits and the difficulties that coincide when you get into art. But it's quite difficult to get into. You have to get an apprenticeship, and they're really hard to come by. So I kind of realised that I'd have to do something else in the meantime until I could find something like that. So I ended up becoming a fashion student and going to uni. But it wasn't for me at all. Like, I'm not very good in education. I don't like being told what to do or what to draw. I think that's why I like tattooing, because you've got people coming in asking for stuff, but you kind of do your own thing, which is what I like doing. The tattoo industry is very open, very accepting of everything. Everyone kind of gets along, and I feel it in some parts is a very female-dominated thing. The industry used to be a pretty male-dominated profession, but as it's progressed, it's become more mixed, more accepting. It's still a very nerve-wracking thing when it comes to tattooing someone. Drawing's very lenient, it can be rubbed out, but obviously skin can't. So I'm still finding my feet and building up my confidence.
For me, feminism is about balance, because the way I see it is there's not enough women in positions of power. So obviously, like in the government, they're few and far between. But then if you look at where are the female film directors, where are, the female artists, musicians, etc. If you look across across the whole spectrum of the arts, it's difficult to find women who've made it to the top positions. Obviously there are some, and all credit to them, but I just think that women have got a lot to offer, and it's a shame that there's a less balanced view.